Hello and welcome to Toastmasters in the Community. I'm your host, Fran Okeson. With me today is Diane King. If you're a regular viewer, you will have seen Diane the last couple of weeks. She was on our show that we taped this morning. Diane, hi. You stayed for both shows this time. That's
Yes,
very,
well,
and
I
you brought a
always
guest
do.
this time.
I always stay for both.
Maybe next time he'll come up and say a few words. Maybe he'll answer a quick question.
I highly doubt that.
Well, that's up to you. Okay. All right, I want to thank my crew for coming in. With the weather that we had last night, it was horrendous. And luckily, everything went away, and it was a perfectly good drive coming up.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get the show on the way. And as I usually do, I take the first speech just to let everybody else warm up. And my name is Fran Okeson, and I am doing speech number 4, How to Say It in the Basic Manual. Paul Paradise, CC, Competent Communicator, is my evaluator. And my speech title is Finding Toastmasters Clubs Around the World. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to enlarge the clubs on Staten Island and grow from there. So, fellow viewers, we're trying to build the 6 clubs in Area 64 on Staten Island. The only club that has the full 20 members is this club, No Limits Toastmasters. And without all the Jersey folks who like to come and play around with the cameras in the control room, we wouldn't have that many people. And I just appreciate that the crew comes. I hate to have them paying that bridge fare all the time, and if I could get a helicopter to just hop over the waters. I said to Isaac coming from Brooklyn one time, if you had a little boat, would you just come over and save the bridge fare? I don't remember his answer. It was a long time ago. But I have to tell you, you never know when you're going to get a call that's going to give you another whole look at life. And very quickly, I received a call or an email from a woman who had a name that had letters that strung out. Her email has like 12 to 15 letters in it. And she said that she was working, I believe, in a bank. This was a couple of months ago. And she was going home to Senegal and was wondering if I had any idea of a club in Senegal, because she got online and she felt that she could use Toastmasters. So I got in touch with her and I said, well, if you go, there's a light over there and I haven't spoken 5 minutes. Please, this is a 5 to 7 minute speech. So the light, I see a light there. All right, I'm sorry. So I told her to get on the Toastmasters website, click on Find a Club, put your address. She said, well, that's the problem. I don't have an address. I'm not staying with my parents. I'm going to go home and get an apartment or a house. So I said, well, would you like me to take care of it for you? Well, I called my friends in California. They gave me the name of a club, the number of the club, the town. She wanted something in Senegal. They didn't have one in Senegal itself, but they had a club in Dakar. And the woman, I said, I know nothing about the part of the world. She said, well, Senegal is like our states, and Dakar is like a town in there. She said, it's the closest one there. And it's called the Dakar Jewel. I said, oh, I'll write that down. And she said, well, Jewel in French, oh, because when this woman gave me her email, I said, let me have your email. And when she told me all these letters, I said, now, can we do it one letter at a time? And she said, all right. And when she got to the end and she said Yahoo, I said, that I understand. Yahoo.com. She said, no, yahoo.fr. I said, FR? She said, France. She said, we're French. So I said, okay, all right, that's fine. So anyway, I got in touch, and I put this in here just so I wouldn't lose the letter. But after talking with this woman, she said I could call her Dow, because that's the nearest thing she figured I could handle rather than her name. But I said to her, I'd be willing to get in touch with these people unless you'd like to. She said, well, I'd much rather have it. Would you do it? So I wrote a letter to the people over there, and I introduced this woman, Day, said that she was coming home at the beginning of August, which I guess she's gone now, and she would like to come and visit your club and observe, blah, 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 blah. Now, I didn't get a response back, but I gave Day an application, and I asked her if I could sponsor her, and she said, whatever it means, you can do anything you want. So if she joins the club, I'll be her sponsor. I'm very happy, very nice woman, and we've been corresponding. So I hope she finds the club. I hope she gets back to me and lets me know that it's a club to our liking, and we'll see where it goes from there. But you never know when an opportunity is going to arrive when you can get involved with people around the world. Like the club I charted, the first club in Nigeria, in 2005, when Dilip Abisekera, a member of our Smedley's Club, past international president, when I was sitting at his head table, because like now when I'm president of Smedley's, I was president of Smedley's that year, and Dilip had his 5 club presidents sitting at the head table with him and his family. And there was a commotion behind me, and a woman said, Dilip, this gentleman thought he was sitting at your table, and Dilip said, this is my club president. And he said, well, Nigeria, this man, right, the ambassador? and his voice came from his toe all the way up his body, like James Earl Jones. And I heard, I want to charter the first club in Nigeria. I said, Dilip, I can eat any time. And I pushed my chair back, and we went out in the lobby. And December of that year, we chartered the Eagle Toastmasters in Lagos, Nigeria. And I still hear from the ambassador, and that was a thrill to get that far away from Tottenville, Staten Island, New York, you know. Really, really great. So don't just look in your own bailiwick. Don't just stay on your block. Reach out, find these people. I think this Allison is going to be, I think this whole new crew, this year's top people, I think they're all in the right direction. I'm not computer literate. Without my son at home, I'd still be calling you on a phone and writing in a pen or something like that. But anyhow, I think that's a great idea. I think we've got a great team, and I'm waiting to get to know them a little bit better. And I can't even see who's up there. Let me look at my list. Ah, Sue, what have you got on here? Oh, is that part of your speech? I don't know, I didn't think you had. Oh, you're talking about, you know, she gave me this title a couple of months ago, and I figured, what is that? And when I looked it up online, because I do know how to do Google, and Peter told me what it was, and it turns out Peter went to school with this guy. And I never heard of this before. I gave half your speech away, Sue. All right, Sue Brooks, our audio clerk, audio tech in there, who is allowed out once in a while. You're doing speech number 3, get to the point. Lucy Collins, you're...
Excuse me.
What?
7.
You changed it to 7?
No, it always was 7.
I'll check my
Research your
emails.
topic.
I'll check my back emails. Okay, and I hope your title is still the same, Jar of Hope?
Yes.
Okay, let everybody know what I know now. This is Sue Brooks and Jar of Hope.
Thank you, Fran, studio audience, and audience at home. Jar of Hope, J-A-R in Jar of Hope, stands for James Anthony Raffone, a young man who was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy in September of 2013 at age 4. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is a terminal muscle wasting disease. His dad, Jim Raffone, came to our job out in New Jersey and told us about what was going on with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and he founded the organization Jar of Hope in hopes that the organization can raise money to help fund research and build awareness for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Jim Raffone, a Staten Island native, recently initiated a new fundraising campaign I want to discuss with you. Hands on the floor, Duchenne no more. He invited local high schools to participate in this fundraising campaign at the end of the school year. Participants from Tottenville High School, Gaynor McCown, and College of Staten Island High School all participated in the fundraising campaign for Hands on the Floor, Duchenne No More, where they raised thousands of dollars. The thought behind the push-ups campaign is 10 push-ups for $10. You get all these enthusiastic students who are mostly in great physical shape to do 10 push-ups for $10. And then they invite their friends and their family to help become involved with the campaign. It was very well received, and now Jar of Hope is taking this campaign nationwide to include elementary, middle, and high school students all over the country. It's a very exciting fundraising campaign. So what is Duchenne? Duchenne is a terminal muscle wasting disease for which there is no cure. Jamesy, the young boy I spoke about earlier, is undergoing hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy, which is helping his muscles. Historically, boys, mostly boys and some girls, up to age 7, have trouble sitting, walking, and talking. By the ages of 6 to 9, their leg muscles deteriorate. Ages 10 to 14, they become wheelchair dependent, and their hearts and lung muscles weaken. They must be monitored frequently. Over the age of 15, heart and lung complications increase. They need medical and breathing support, and there are terminal effects. Most die in their young 20s. But for Jim Raffone and his family, giving up is not an option. He initiated this as well as other fundraising campaigns, doing a grand-to-grand ultra marathon in the Arizona desert over several days, running marathons day in and day out with a team of dedicated supporters. Sporting his green bandana and Jar of Hope t-shirt and other green and black signature items, you could see Jim and all his teammates raising funds, spreading awareness on TV, giving speeches to members of gyms, clubs, schools, professional organizations, because raising money and building an awareness for Duchenne muscular dystrophy is most important to keep his son Jamesy alive. And it gets personal once you meet Jim, once you meet Jamesy and the family. You're saying, we have to get on board with it. People are lending their time, their talents, and money to help do whatever they can to raise money to help stop Duchenne. Our company, Landmark 360, created this infographic to help spread the message in the campaign kits that we're helping to share with schools who are going on board with the Hands on the Floor. And in the words of Jim Raffone, hands on the floor, Duchenne no more. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much, Sue. Very, very nice. Okay. Our next speaker, guess who that is, Diane?
Me?
You're the third one.
Oh, okay. I
guess
forgot
you
that
did
yours. No, I forgot that you counted yourself.
Oh, I am a
Okay.
person, you know.
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right, that's all right. All right, our next speaker is my dear friend Diane King, distinguished Toastmaster, doing speech number 3 in the basic manual. Get to the point. Begonia Reyes is your evaluator, and I forgot on this morning's show to say she is a competent communicator, and she's an Area 21 director. And when you first gave me your speech title, I wrote it down as Smarty Pants. And am I glad I talked to you one day and I said, what a nice title, Smarty Pants. No, it's plants. So I figured when I saw that Begonia was coming with her husband, I figured, well, there's the evaluator for that. So we'll have Begonia Reyes evaluating Smarty Plants. Let's all welcome Diane King.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
You're welcome.
And welcome, Toastmasters at home and in the studio audience. Smarty Plants. Yes, I will tell you just how smart plants are, and believe me, it's going to sound like science fiction. We all know that either personally or people that have said that they talk to their plants, and when they do so, the plants thrive. But the plants don't talk back, or do they? Back in 1880, Charles Darwin had the theory that plants had certain cells within their stems that devoted themselves to keeping track of root growth. And nothing happened with that belief for 100 years. When a scientist named, some of these names I need help with, František Belouska, who is a professor at the University of Bonn in Germany. He's a plant biologist, and he decided to prove Darwin's theory. And I found this intriguing article in Discover magazine several months ago, and there are many scientists that contributed and are searching for ways to prove this theory and tell us exactly how smart plants are. That plants have a memory, that plants can talk to each other, that plants can communicate to each other when they're in stress, and so on. The one that really started a lot of experimentation that has been documented in scientific research is a woman named Monica Gagliano, who decided to use the same technique that Pavlov did with his dog, and to see if baby pea seedlings could grow given a stimulus outside. So what she did was construct a maze of plumbing pipelines, and she put the baby peas in a little tray, the seeds in the tray, and put this pipeline over top of it in a maze, put a fan in the corner, and when the fan went on, it was soon followed by a blue light, and little baby pea seedlings love blue lights, and they would gravitate toward the blue light and grow. And she would do this over and over, and eventually all she had to do was turn the fan on, and they put their little heads over there where the blue light used to be. I think that was very exciting. And more tests like this by various scientists have been conducted. Another scientist named Suzanne Simard, who is the forest ecologist at the University of British Columbia, tells us that trees talk to each other. And she says this is done by something called mycorrhizal network, that underneath the ground there's a root system. It's kind of like the Underground Railroad, like a telegraph line, where all these trees and all kinds of flowers can communicate to each other various things. She said if you want to know what it sounds like to hear trees talk, just go into the forest, take a deep breath, listen, and that thing that you smell is trees talking. True? I don't know, it's what she says. So, another interesting experiment was done by this same Suzanne Simard, who did a test on a plant, and I want to say begonia because of my evaluator. It is, but it was not begonia. It was a mimosa. Okay.
She'll change her name
Mimosa
tomorrow.
plants are very sensitive. If you touch their leaves, they will go like this and close up. And she decided to conduct an experiment whereby she held the little plant in a thing and dropped it 6 inches. And by the time she let go of it, it was already going like this. And she did this repeatedly. And by the time she got to 60 drops, it just stayed like this. It didn't. So plants have a memory. There are lots of technical experiments I could go over with you, but I just wanted to tell you that plants are very smart. And in closing, Fran,
yes,
I want to acknowledge your birthday that you had during the week, because I didn't see you, and I thought that in keeping with this speech,
Well, what are you doing?
what am I doing? I'm giving you a piece of green paper, and now papers are made out of wood.
It's only got a 1 on it.
Well, not to jump
Was there
to
something better on the other
not
side?
to jump to conclusions. Papers are made out of trees. So I want you to plant this in some nice fertile potting soil, put a blue light over it, and grow a money tree.
That's the best challenge I've had in a very long time, Diane. I'm sure Peter and I will find a lovely pot, and we will handle it.
You'll make history.
Thank you very, very. You're nuttier than a fruitcake. I love you.
Oh,
It's so
dear.
nice to have a friend like this. Thank you very much, Diane. You've made my day. Anyway, hello, Cindy.
Hi, Fran.
You're all dressed up to kill like last time.
Well, you know, when you have to tell the story, you need to
Yeah, I know.
get into the part.
I
And
know.
part with me means that I'm going to tell a story.
Do you have, how many more stories do you have in the book?
This is the second one. There are 5 more to go.
Good, good, good. Just let me know. I'm booking October and November and December now, so, okay?
Okay.
All right, so
All
Cindy
right.
Wilson, past district governor. Oh, we got to get you further along than your DTM 4, get you up on 5.
Oh,
All
my.
right,
Oh, I'm
entertaining
working on
speaker,
it.
advanced manual, I hope I'm right with that.
Yes.
Make them laugh, 5 minutes. Paul Scharf is your evaluator because he did such a good job last month.
Yes,
I put
I
him back
see.
in again.
Yes, I do.
And let me give Paul's, he's a DTM 6, a past district, first district governor in 83, and this year he's the Area 42 director. And your speech this time is Annabella and Brutus. I had a dog one time named Brutus. He was a beautiful dog. But I never knew anybody named Arabella. All right, let's all welcome Cindy Wilson, past district governor.
Thank you. Good day, fellow Toastmasters and friends. If you were with us last month, you heard the story of the 7 ladies Godiva, what was written by Dr. Seuss, and their search for a horse truth that would allow them to pursue and marry their favorite Sir Peeping. 1 down, 6 to go. This story is about Lady Arabella Godiva and her horse Brutus. If there was any horse that ever needed some relief and rescue, it was Brutus. Lady Arabella was a sleepwalker. She would walk into the barn late at night and would sleep ride poor Brutus all night long while she was looking for her horse truth. Frankly, I don't know how she was ever going to find it because her eyes were closed. So when Arabella and Brutus returned in the morning, he was very tired and stressed. He had horse things to do during the daytime, but he wasn't getting any sleep at night. Then he learned that the fermented mash at the bottom of the silo had a soothing, comforting effect on his troubles. Therefore, he learned to go and drink that special brew, and once he did, he didn't give two hoofs about anything. One morning, Arabella entered the barn and found Brutus, drunk as a skunk, with a hangover that rolled in and out like waves on the sea. His eyes were bloodshot, and he had no horse sense. "Look at him! Look at him!" Annabella cried. "He's a drunken bum. I want another horse." Now, Arabella's sisters were in the barn with her. "Oh, no," said Lady Hedwig, the oldest sister. "You've had Brutus since you were little and he was a colt. You know him. You did this to him with your late-night rides. You have to find a way to sober him up." The sisters then left the barn to continue their pursuit of their individual quests. Arabella took a deep breath and started pulling on Brutus's reins. "Get up, you knock-kneed, addle-brained, sorry excuse for a horse. Stand up and get some horse sense." Brutus struggled to his feet as best he could, and then he swayed on the breeze like he was on legs of rubber. Arabella realized that Brutus was her only means of escape from spinsterhood, and he had to be reformed. In other words, sobered up. What do? You deal with it, like we always do, ladies. So she said, "I'm going to do this." She then pulled Brutus out of the barn. Brutus saw the silo, and his eyes lit up like lights on a Christmas tree. "Oh, no, you don't," she said. "We are not going there. You're coming with me." So she's pulling on his leash, and he realizes that she is moving towards the trough of water with the pump. She had thought, if throwing a man into a trough of water could sober him up, maybe it'll work on Brutus too. So she got there, and Brutus realized her purpose, and he shuddered. This was what he said, as any horse could say, which meant, "Pump stuff. I'll die before I touch it." And he did. Arabella's entry into her book of the oaths, her horse truth was written below the horse truth that was written by her sister, the first one to get through it. Remember, fellow Toastmasters and friends, these truths are self-evident. First, never look a gift horse in the mouth. And second, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Cindy. Oh, boy. You have the greatest costumes to go with your speeches. And now, Joan, thank you for filling in for our friend Fern, who couldn't come at the last minute. I do appreciate you always coming prepared. Joan Marizio, who's one of my lighting people in the corner, in that dark corner that I can't see at all. Joan's a DTM 3. She's doing speech number 5 from the basic manual, How to Say It. And Kevin Thompson. Kevin Thompson is your evaluator. I figured that you could stand him, and we'll go from there. And anyway, your title is, and I'd like your speech information before you leave for Wednesday's Richmond County meeting, because I'm getting the agendas out tomorrow, please.
Or else.
If you want to be on the agenda. Every state has one. Let's all welcome Joan Marizio.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremonies, CEO of Toastmasters, the audience, and the audience at home. Everybody knows by now, who's known me for a few years, July, August 2017, Reader's Digest, it's my favorite magazine. Why? Because it's pretty factual, and as far as I know, they don't have any lawsuits against them, so they must be pretty good on their facts. So you say to yourself, okay, so every state has a state flower, every state has a state bird, they have a state motto. What's so great about what every state has? Found this article called The Wackiest Laws, and every state has their own wacky law. I said, well, where do you begin now? You're not going to tell all 50 states. And I said, New York, New Jersey is a good place to start. Start with the letter N. Well, I found something very, very funny about everything, really, but I said, no, there's got to be even worse laws than these, but this is the ones, these are the ones that they chose. So starting with Nebraska, and I titled it Gotcha Twice. I cannot believe that they say it's illegal to sell drugs, but if you pay a sales tax and you get a tax stamp, they may let it ride. What happens is, if a police officer stops you, sees it in your car on the driver's hand side, because you know you want to hand it right over to your customer without getting out of the car, people are so lazy, not only can he get you for possession, if you don't have the stamp on it, he can get you for tax evasion. So now they could put you in jail for two things. These people actually pay a legal fine, a tax of $100 for an ounce of marijuana, and I think it's higher for a gram of coke. I guess it goes too by the weight. I don't know, or how important the drug is. I just thought it was so funny that here you are, you're going to be charged with drugs, not paying tax on the drugs, and now tax evasion too. Well, you could spend more than 10 years in jail for a stupid small amount of marijuana. Nevada has something called, they want to protect your feet. They have an x-ray device that they're not allowed to measure your shoe size with, and they say with all the vices and victims that are in Las Vegas, could not they find one more important thing in Nevada than to complain about people's feet being x-rayed? And I never heard of a device. I heard of this shoe piece that they slide up and down, and that's how they measure your feet. But as far as x-raying your foot, I don't get it. So anyway, that's a strange. I'll never go to Nevada, I guess. New Hampshire. They say that you can't carry on an affair in a hotel. Why? Because you can't have an assumed name. If you're going to have an affair with somebody, you have to use her real name and his real name, or his real name and his real name, or her real name and her real name. You know, it's getting very confusing. People, you get married, I don't care who you marry, just be faithful to your spouse. See, and there's the new song, The Farmer Takes a Spouse. Not the farmer takes a wife. Sometimes the wife is taking care of the farm, so just say the farmer takes a spouse. New Jersey. I knew this because I asked about it when I went to New Jersey the first time, and I had been pumping my own gas to save 10 cents a gallon when it was all the way up to $3.50 a gallon. And I said, how come we can't pump our own gas? He says, well, for safety regulations. And here it is. If you get caught pumping your own gas with the gas station attendant looking on, it's a $50 fine in New Jersey. I knew it was wrong. I didn't know how wrong it was. I will never offer to pump my own gas again. Then we get down to New Mexico. They had a tight election in New Mexico, and this reminds me of what happened with Hillary with the coin toss, and she won all 6 coin tosses. This just surprised me because it really does take place. There was a tight election. In 1998, James Farrington played, I guess it was poker because he got an ace-high flush. That's how he won his election. It was a tight election. The votes were even Steven, and that was the only way to resolve it. So he was re-elected. So he could not have been such a bad chap, and maybe that wasn't so bad after all. But I thought that was funny. So you wonder what other states they settle things like that with. In North Carolina, and I can't imagine how important grease is worth or what kind of grease it is, but it says it's a felony to steal over $1,000 worth of grease and its container. Now, if the person just steals the grease and brings their own container, is it less of a felony? I don't know. But anyway, these are the wacky laws that they talk about. In North Dakota, it's considered a deceptive act if you're not a licensed barber and you have a red, blue, or white striped barber pole outside. You have to be a licensed barber. You could be fined for that. South Carolina. Now we're going into the states that are jealous because you've got North Carolina and a few others. South Carolina said, you cannot collect or break or destroy a Venus flytrap because it is native to South Carolina. It's been sold on the black market as a special botany item, and the fines could be $200 and 30 days in jail. Go to South Carolina. Don't fool around with the drugs, but don't fool around with the Venus flytraps. Go to New Hampshire and fool around with the Venus flytraps, and don't fool around with drugs. Anyway, there's so much more to this. Maybe I'll give part two. I thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker today is Linda Isaacs, who we met last month. I appreciate her coming back again. And she's doing speech number 1 from the Communicating on Video Advanced Manual. It's called Straight Talk. It's an editorial. And Joan, please, it's 4 minutes for this editorial. Actually, it's 3 minutes plus or minus 40 seconds. I rounded it out. Her evaluator is Kevin Thompson. And let me read a little bit about Linda. Linda Isaacs has been a Toastmaster for 13 years and has achieved her Distinguished Toastmaster Award, which is the highest Toastmasters educational award possible. She is also a physician, a graduate of Vanderbilt University School of Medicine, and is certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine. In today's presentation, she will discuss how unnecessary medical tests can harm you. Unnecessary medical tests can harm you. Will you please welcome Dr. Linda Isaacs? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Fran. And I just wanted to say that anyone who watches the news knows that the cost of medical care and how to pay for it is constantly being discussed. The United States spends much more per person for health care than many other countries whose citizens live much longer than we do. Unfortunately, much of the money that is spent is wasted. A 2012 article in the Journal of the American Medical Association states that by the most conservative estimate, 20% of expenditures are for unnecessary care. Some experts estimate that $200 billion per year goes for unnecessary testing. Some people might worry that necessary tests and treatments might be rationed just to avoid spending money. They don't see the harm in doing tests and fear that not doing tests will mean that potential benefits will be missed. But there are risks involved with tests. Here is a story to illustrate that from a recent medical journal article. The author's father, who was in good health, went to see his physician for a routine checkup. The doctor ordered an ultrasound to screen for an abdominal aortic aneurysm, which is a potentially life-threatening condition. However, the patient had no risk factors for this condition, and it was highly unlikely that the test would find anything that would help him live longer or be healthier. No aneurysm was found, but there was a small mass seen on one of the adrenal glands in the abdomen. His doctor then ordered a CAT scan to further study this mass, thereby exposing the patient to radiation. And some studies suggest that the radiation from the excessive number of CAT scans done in this country now will lead to cancer for some patients in the future. The CAT scan showed that the adrenal mass was harmless, but it also showed an unexpected mass in the liver. At this point, the question was raised as to whether the patient might have cancer, and so a needle biopsy was done, which means that a needle is introduced into the liver to remove a little bit of tissue to be examined under the microscope. That test showed that the liver mass was not cancer, it was benign, but the patient nearly bled to death as a result of the procedure. The initial test, which should not have been ordered in the first place, thereby created a cascade of follow-up testing that nearly killed the patient. A story like this illustrates that medical testing can be expensive and even risky, which is especially concerning where there is no proven benefit to doing the test in the first place. In order to help educate both physicians and the public, the American Board of Internal Medicine Foundation, along with Consumer Reports, they have joined together to create the Choosing Wisely campaign. At their website, choosingwisely.org, you can find recommendations from a number of medical specialty societies about frequently ordered but unnecessary tests. You can also find their suggested questions for your physician when a test is recommended to you. The questions are, do I really need this test or procedure? What are the risks and side effects? Are there simpler, safer options? What happens if I don't do anything? How much does it cost? and will my insurance pay for it? Please visit the website choosingwisely.org, again, choosingwisely.org, for more information about many different tests and procedures. I hope that this information will help you get the most possible benefit with the least possible risk from your medical care. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. A lot of very good information there.
Yes.
Okay, and let's go into our, I didn't mention it. I want to thank Paul Paradise, who's coming up now, for bringing Linda, because they're in the Mile Square Club over in Hoboken. So Paul is one of our camera people, and he brought Linda, and I hope Linda will come back soon, because it's nice to have a little jolt of reality.
Oh, yeah, very, very
And I am
interesting.
going to put your $1, and we'll see what happens, Diane. Okay, Paul.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, you're evaluating me. So much to do and so little time, and so many changes in the last 24 hours. Okay. All right. Paul, would you tell the folks what you thought about my...
Sure, I'd be happy to, Fran.
Okay.
Well, first of all, your speech was Finding Toastmaster Clubs Around the World. I found it a very enjoyable speech. It basically was some personal experiences that you've had helping other Toastmasters. Your first experience was helping a woman from Senegal find clubs in her native country. And you went to the website to find some clubs in Senegal, and then you made some personal calls to California and ultimately were able to find a club. I think it was called the Dakar Jewel. And then you had been in constant touch with this woman, and you had an interesting insight in terms of her email. And then you followed up with another person who was from Nigeria and had been in constant contact with this person as well. So I found these both were very, very interesting subjects. And then, so I thought that maybe some other tools might be have been helpful, like say the Toastmasters magazine as a tool for helping find Toastmasters clubs around the world. But nonetheless, I have a personal experience. I'm glad you asked me to critique your speech because I have an interesting talk. I met Dee Alimi here on your club, and I was very glad that I met him because I had an instance where I was in England giving a speech, and I didn't know anyone in England. I was able to contact him and spend an afternoon with him in England, and he was showing me around. And there's where being a member of your club was very, very helpful to me. Thank you.
Paul? Well, for years when I was able to run to all the conferences, every time I got to a hotel, I'd always go to the desk and ask if they knew where the nearest Toastmasters club was. And if anyone met, I was going to see if I could go and visit them. But, the overnight things, you don't have that much time.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to reach out. Yes, Diolimi keeps saying he's coming back to Staten Island. He does between the two countries, and he's an author. So a very nice young man. And Lucy, you are evaluating Sue Brooks' speech.
Yes.
Tell us what you thought of Jar of Hope. She didn't give you a green bandana so you could get involved? Huh? Okay. This is Lucy Kahn, my other timer, one of the best person on my crew, and her husband makes delicious brownies. Delicious brownies. In fact, the girl out at the receptionist said, I love those brownies that you people have every meeting. I said, well, that's Lucy's husband who bakes the brownies for us. So with that in mind,
Thank
would you like to tell us what you thought of Sue's speech, please?
Good afternoon, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, guests, and viewing audience, and especially Sue. I like your title, Jar of Hope. And you really, really research your topic. You're very well prepared with the green bandana and your black t-shirt with the green butterfly and the word Jar of Hope. I still don't understand at the beginning what is this Jar of Hope, but now I realize that it's about the muscular dystrophy, and you tell us about what it means. JAR is for James Anthony Rafon, and I like the way you tell everyone to campaign for this critical some kind of like a muscle thing that everybody will die if it's not being treated. and your campaign is very nice, and I like the way you do everybody and telling us how it caused this disease to be with people from younger age to the older age. And also you tell us about the fundraising campaign about hands on the floor to share no more. And I like that conclusion, hands on the floor to share no more. And hopefully people will do the 10 hands-on and 10 push-up, which everybody can do it if they're healthy enough to help raise this campaign. And I like the conclusion again, hands on the floor to shine no more, and hopefully everybody can go online and help raise more money. Thank you.
Yeah, we have to be careful because Sue is going to monitor you before you leave the building. We all have to get on the floor and have 10 push-ups.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be the day, right? Okay, thank you very much, Lucy. And now Cindy's speech was evaluated by Paul. I think. Wait a minute, who's here? Oh.
No, she's
Oh,
evaluating
I'm
me.
sorry, smarty plants. Yes, Begonia. That worked out beautiful. Begonia and with you with the smarty
Yes, it
plants.
did.
Yes. Oh, I'd love to hear your voice again. I don't think I ever met anybody from Spain. I love her accent. So let's hear it more, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guests, and especially Diane. I loved your speech. You took us into a story, and you put in our minds vivid images as we were watching a documentary on TV. Oh. It was very educational. I learned a lot. I feel as it was a lecture more than a speech. What I like the most is when you were talking about the plants have memory and they can communicate to each other. And when we go to the goose, we can listen to them. We just have to take a deep breath and concentrate in the smell and the noise. I love that part. I was wondering why you came up with that topic. You inspire me to do more research about this speech with all the information that you share with us today. I enjoy your speech, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thank you. Please make sure she gets her manual back, even though you're both in Jersey, but just give it to her at the end of the show, please. We need flashlights in the dark. People don't understand it's black as anything back there. Hello, Paul. Now I can introduce you, right?
Now you can introduce me.
All right, Paul. Oh, I get into such trouble with you sometimes.
I'll let you introduce me. I appreciate that.
I know you could do a better job introducing yourself, Paul, but I would like to do that because I'm in this chair.
Okay. Maybe next year.
No, I don't think so. No. I like this chair. Okay, Paul, let's get serious, Paul. Joan,
I can't get serious. It's an entertaining speech. Go ahead.
Fine. Joan's talking about, no, it's Cindy. Oh, that's right. Oh, Cindy, yes, you evaluated it last time. There's 5 more stories or 4 more stories. I hope you're enjoying them.
I'm loving him.
You can call me if you'd like to have a change. I can always let you have another version of
That's
gardening.
perfectly okay.
All right, good. All right, let's get serious now. Cindy was doing entertaining speaker, make them laugh. Were you laughing in the control room? Because now you're my graphics tech.
I was smiling, yes.
Oh. So I hope it didn't hurt too much. Okay, Paul, Oh,
Let's get
okay.
serious.
DTM 6, past district governor, first district governor, Area 42 director. Annabella and Brutus, please tell us what you thought about that part of this book that Cindy is bringing back each time. I love these stories. Paul Scharf.
Thank you.
Yep.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and viewing audience. Cindy gave a wonderful presentation, explanation to some degree, and a little bit of entertainment about Arabella and Brutus, that story. I have to start out by saying two things that Cindy might work on a future presentation of this type of speech, and that is to pull in a personal connection or adapting a personal piece of humorous material to the story, which I didn't really hear. And the other thing, there was, as Fran asked me, and I answered by saying, yes, I did smile. There wasn't much laughter from the audience, but you as the audience did smile, because I could see it from the room that I was in. Many people were smiling, which is good. Just a little bit more smiling, some piece of laughter in there would make the entertaining speech a lot better. However, her presentation, as usual, was fantastic. Body movement, vocal variety, hand gestures were all there. I appreciate that and look forward to many more of Cindy's speeches, and hopefully the Toastmaster will put me down as her evaluator again. Thank you.
That's good. It's in stone. Thank you, Paul. Paul, the one thing you didn't mention was the beautiful costumes she wears to read these speeches.
The beautiful costume was absolutely fantastic.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Paul. Hello, Mr. Ice Cream Man.
Hello, my little
No.
sugar dumpling.
What? Wait,
My
wait.
little sugar dumpling.
Oh, did my son hear you?
I believe Peter did.
Oh, I'll hear it all the way home. All right, Kevin. I put you in as the last two evaluators because you've been missing meetings, and I wanted to let people see that you're still part of my life. So would you please tell Joe? Would you please tell Joe? We got to stop this before it gets any harder.
Any what?
Nothing. Hey, it rained all night. I was up all night making corrections in here. Kevin, would you stop it now? She's laughing at things that have nothing at all to do with today. Kevin, be serious. Would you like to evaluate Joan's travelogue for us?
It would be a pleasure.
Every state has one. Mr. Kevin J. Thompson, Distinguished Toastmaster.
Fran. Yes. Studio audience, an audience at home, but most importantly, Joan. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm always so excited when Joan gets up here to speak because it's going to be something that you've never heard before. Guaranteed you've never heard before. And when she talked about the states, I was like, is she trying to make a statement? And the things that she brought out were things that people would never have guessed. But that's what I love about hearing Joan's speeches. Joan is going to take you somewhere on a magic carpet ride, whether you're ready or not, and you're going to be entertained, you're going to be informed, you're going to be educated, and you're going to have fun. Joan's speeches are always focused on you being amazed. It's always an amazing opportunity to hear Joan, and I know that you were amazed. I was too, and we are looking forward to Joan's next speech. Thank you so much.
I was beginning to think Joan wasn't going to turn on the lights. She just liked what you were saying. Thank you, Kevin.
It wasn't hard for her to do that.
I know, she didn't have to go far. Kevin, as long as you stop it, Diane. She's bad. Kevin, as long as you're there, would you like to do the next evaluation? Dr.
Well,
Linda, now be more serious. This is a doctor. now.
Especially since you have me on the agenda, yes.
I went to,
Because for those of you that don't know, Fran is always about the agenda. If you're not on the agenda, you are not speaking.
but I always tell Joan, if somebody backs out at the 11th hour, and that's what I did, I called her Friday night, do you have something ready? I always have something ready. I mean, she and I go packed. I can talk about anything I have to talk about in 2 seconds.
Prepared.
Oh, I believe that. And so you've heard of Ready Freddy, but this is Ready Fran.
All right, what was the first club where I went to and you were there, the only man in a whole room of nurses? Over in that-
UMDNJ.
Say it again?
UMDNJ.
I met him on the side. He was sitting on the side, and I figured, what's that man doing here? He's not a nurse. I found out he was a hospital administrator. All right, Kevin, and you're a member of this club, which I love. Oh, yeah, no, he's a very impressive man. He just acts like a clown on the show. But
You
we
got to
love him.
lighten up sometime.
I'm
Yeah,
just
he's got it.
following her lead, that's all.
That's
Okay, so Linda Isaac's speech was unnecessary medical tests can hurt you, can help you.
Can help you.
A slip of the tongue. Right?
That wasn't hard.
Kevin, would you like to give Linda her evaluation?
I would love to. Fellow Toastmasters, studio audience, Fran, and my friend Diane, but of course, Linda. It was a pleasure to hear Linda's speech. And she was supposed to be focused on presenting a speech on video. And in the book, it said that what would it look like if she was actually doing the video? Well, we didn't even have to worry about that because she was actually doing the video and I was watching her on the video monitor. So it's true. So everything I'm going to say is actually pertinent and relevant to her speech. So when she talked about these tests and the AAA, I was like, hey, wait a minute. This is a physician and she's talking about tests? The first thing that came to my mind was, you should go to the physician for an examination. But, I'm sorry, you should go to the physician for an exam, but not for an examination, because those tests can be harmful. And it was sheer genius how she connected one test to the next, to the next, to the next, and showed the degree of harm that can happen with a patient. I'm also glad that she shared the information about the testing site that you should be able to go back to and find out about unnecessary tests. So, Linda, thank you so much. It was very informative. I enjoyed it, and we were educated as well as informed.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Now we're going into table topics. And Joan, did Belinda come? No. All right, thank you. All right, so hello. Oh, you beat me there. Wait, who was my floor manager in the dock? Were you my floor
am.
Oh, you still are. That's right. The show's not over. It's nice if I could see a little bit back there. But all right, I have some fantastic questions, and you haven't been able to come for a couple of months, and I thought this was a Rachel Weisz question. All right, if you had the choice, listen carefully, of taking a trip in a spaceship with the astronauts or exploring the depths of the ocean, which would you choose and why, Rachel?
Well, thank you for that question. I would choose going into space with the astronauts. See, I've already gone scuba diving, and so I've already had the experience of going into the ocean and experiencing all of the wonders of that down under. My grandfather worked for Grumman Aircraft, and he was part of the team that developed the lunar excursion module that landed on the moon. So getting into space would be a thrill of a lifetime. Being an amateur radio operator, I would enjoy being able to speak to those on the ground from way high up and be able to share that experience directly with them. So this is an opportunity that I would jump at a moment's notice. Thank you for the question.
Wow. You know, when I was growing up, my cousin Paul was a test pilot for Grumman, and he used to buzz our summer house out in Amityville, and his mother, my aunt who raised me, used to shake her fist. I said, he can't see you, but she yelled, buzzing over the house, and I grew up with a lot of crazy people. Anyway, that was a perfect question for you.
Yes, it was.
Wow. Jeez. Oh, do I know people?
Well, you gave me a perfect question too
Yeah, but
on the other show.
we've been together, yeah, at the other meeting, yeah. All right, Isaac, I told you before I have a nice question for you too, Isaac.
And I believed you.
But will you still talk to me after we're finished with the show? All right, Isaac. Oh, yes, this is nice. I just told you about it, and
We have 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Good,
One
then
second.
you'll have to
2
talk
minutes.
fast. I just want the audience
159,
to know that I
158.
signed up a new member for Richmond County who comes from where you came from, the Ukraine. I'm going to connect the two of you. All right, Isaac, if you had the opportunity to have dinner with any world leader today, who would you choose and what would you talk about? Watch the clock so we don't run over, please.
I like that. Watch the clock. You know, I don't even know if I want to have a dinner with any world leader.
That's a short answer.
Yeah. I like food. Looking at me, you can guess it. I like to eat. But if we eat with the world leader, it's going to be all yap, 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 and no eating, and I don't like that. No. I prefer nice, quiet dinner with good food. So, friend, how about you and I get together and have a nice dinner?
I don't think Regina would like that.
We'll invite Regina too. It's okay.
Maybe Kevin will come.
Yeah, well, no. You and I and Regina, 3 of us. Kevin
not
will be
that
too
kind of
much
a woman.
talk. And I said, I don't like too much talk.
Threesome? No.
He's
Okay.
my brother from another mother, but I know Kevin likes to talk like I do. We both like to talk. We're speakers, so we yap, not good.
All right, I have one more
We're almost
question.
out of time, friend.
I can't ask the next question then. and it
No,
was
you
good.
can't.
I have 40
41,
seconds.
39
Manny,
seconds.
There is
please come up,
nobody.
Manny.
Nobody
Manny,
can answer question.
Manny there.
Friend, we'll
Manny
cut
Reyes,
you off. We'll cut you
Then
off.
you do it if you
The
have-
music will
Is
start
Manny there? I
now.
want him to come up to the mic.
Manny, don't even bother. The music will start in about 25 seconds, and you won't be able to speak because
It
I'm
was a
still
good
here.
question, Manny. I'll have to ask you later on.
Yes. That's what happens when we have a lot of dialogue together and time runs up.
10
Okay,
seconds.
my time
Please,
is up.
folks, let me know
Studio
when you can
audience,
come back.
friends at home, and Madam Producer. Thank you for letting
Whatever
me
you just
here.
said, I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you all for coming, and we'll have another show. We're not filming in September because of Labor Day weekend. Our next show here will be the first Saturday in October.